Hi there, and welcome to Limitless, the space where your big dreams meet grounded energy and mastering manifestation becomes your new normal. I'm Alyssa Simpson, mindset and manifestation coach, your unorthodox free spirit, and now your newfound permission slip to do life your way. Here, we break the rules by ditching societal norms of the hustle and grind. We embrace flow, alignment, and the bold decision to follow what lights you the fuck up. In each episode, I'll be sharing soul downloads, mindset shifts, energetic upgrades, and raw, authentic stories to help you unlock your magnetism, collapse timelines, and create a life that feels as good as it looks. So if you're ready to remember who you are, trust your desires, embody your highest self, and manifest from your authentic power, it's time to sit back, relax, and get ready to become limitless. Hello, welcome to another episode of Limitless. How have you been since we last chatted? Hope you've been great. I am thriving, if I'm being totally honest. And by thriving, I mean we're living for a living. You know what I mean? Okay, like I promised you, I was going to give you a birth story. Okay, we're not going to get into a whole lot of the details. I want to come at this birth story more from like a mindset and manifestation point of view. And before we get into it, like I told y'all in the last episode, I am breaking up with social media. We are done, son. We are getting off of the gram, we are getting off of the tickety talk, and we are doing things in a way that makes the most sense for me in this season of life that I'm in. Before we again dive into this episode, I really want you to know that if you are also someone who feels that unnecessary pressure that you have got to be on social media in order to like see success in your business or to learn what's happening in the world or to keep up with the Joneses or whatever the case may be, I am actually hosting a members exclusive only training inside of my membership where I am teaching you how to live in abundance offline. Okay. I am someone who has honestly been really good at mastering manifestation away from social media since 2019. Not to discredit the success that I have seen on social media, but if I'm being totally honest with you guys, like I've seen so much more outside of social media, and those were all signs from the universe saying, hey, get the fuck off of these platforms. These aren't truly meant for you. And I was just ignoring them, ignoring the signs, ignoring Zaddy Universe's call to me. And we're done doing that. We are done doing that. So I'm teaching all of my members how I have done it and how they can do it too. And even if you're someone who loves social media, you love the success that you've seen, but you also want to have a little side gig with the universe doing things offline, this training and masterclass is going to be for you. So check out the show notes in order to join the membership because like I said, this is a members exclusive only training and my members are the only ones who are going to get access to this training. So make sure you subscribe to that membership by clicking the show notes below. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm gonna give you like the basic details of the birth and delivery just because I think it is important for this because everyone's birth story and delivery story is so different, but I do truly believe in my heart that the reason that my birth and delivery was so smooth and peaceful again is because I didn't let the internet and strangers have access to such an intimate moment of my and my husband and my son's life. And I also truly spent my entire pregnancy manifesting a smooth pregnancy, a smooth delivery, and a smooth birth. And that's what happened. Not to say that if you are manifesting a smooth whatever in your life and it doesn't turn out smooth, that you did something wrong in the manifestation process. There was obviously just something for you to learn in those moments where things didn't necessarily go your way. And my birth plan didn't go my entire way because I went in without a birth plan. I was like, you know what? I am truly surrendering. I am trusting that it's all going to work out the way that it needs to. And it did because I surrendered and I gave up the need to control the entire situation, which coming from a Virgo and a recovering control freak, it took a lot of mental gymnastics to get me to where I needed to be in order to have the peace and the calm. Okay. So I delivered my son at 41 weeks via induction because he was measuring so fucking large. My doctor was like, I'm not letting you go past 41 weeks. And at first, that really bothered me because I really wanted everything to be as come on his own terms as possible, but I truly believe that this was him coming in his own terms. I truly do believe that he needed that push and that extra oomph to kind of come to Earthside. And he was born literally, I think, 6 minutes before the lunar eclipse that happened in March, and also on Pi Day. And I read his birth chart from when he was born and everything, and it is seriously like the most beautiful birth chart I think I've ever seen. It's incredible. And I'm obsessed. And I asked Josh, he's not into the woo, like I've told you guys before, he's not into the woo or like any of like the metaphysical world. And I told him, I was like, I read his birth chart. Do you want me to tell you what it said? And he was like, no, no. So it's for me and me only. And I'm also one of those people that I don't, well, one of those people, I don't know if that's the right verbiage here, but I'm not going to project the birth chart onto my son. Like it's just something for me to like keep with me. And then if he ever shows interest in it, in this world, if you will, then I'm going to share it with him. But I'm not going to like force who he is because of what I read in his birth chart. That's just not the vibe that I'm going for. Let him live and exist as he is. And if I see signs and I'm like, holy shit, like your birth chart totally said this is going to be how you are, then it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? But anyways, so yes, 41 weeks via induction. I was pushing for maybe 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes. And my mother-in-law, I didn't want her in the room with Josh and I wanted it just to be Josh and I whenever I was delivering. But she, instead of waiting like in the waiting room, she snuck into the room that was next to ours because there was no one in there, and she got to like listen to the whole thing through the other side of the wall, and she was so excited. But she told me, she was like, I didn't hear you make a peep. She's like, I heard you cry whenever he came, but like I didn't hear you at all. And it's true, like I was so quiet during the entire thing. Like I was really truly like focusing mentally of just like being connected with my body in a way that made the most sense for me. And another thing that I think is so funny is I told Josh, I was like, do not look. Like, you need to be at my head. I don't want you looking because I do not want you to have this scarred image of your wife of the delivery process. And he's like, okay, I won't. But every time that I'd push, I would close my eyes. And then whenever I would be done, he's at my head and I would look up at him just to be like, oh, hey, babe. And one time I looked up at him and his face was looking at me, but his eyes were looking towards the birthing area. And whenever it was all over and said and done, I was like, I caught you peeking. And he's like, I know, I peeked a couple times. It was so funny. I was like, well, why were you peeking? Like, what? I was like, were you just curious? And he's like, well, they kept saying, like, oh my gosh, you're getting so close. And he was like, I was curious if they were just like blowing smoke up your ass to make you like mentally do a good job, or like if he was actually getting closer. And at one point too, I thought this was so cute too, is whenever I was pushing, they said that they saw my son's head like kind of wiggle, like he was kind of like trying to help too. And I was like, oh, my sweet baby. He's trying to make it earthside peacefully too, and help me help him. I don't know. It was a really cool process. Especially coming, that's an interesting thing for me to say because I am someone who was afraid of the birthing process. I was someone who had it all in my head that some horrible fucking thing was going to happen to me or my child. Like whenever I first got my period, you guys, like I was so disgusted and like just unwell through the entire thing. Sorry, I got interrupted, y'all, but I'm back. I don't remember where we left off, so we're just gonna keep it flowing. We're just gonna keep it flowing. Yeah, so even though like an induction wasn't my plan, again, I still do think that it happened the way that it was meant to and the way that it was supposed to. And at the end of the day, mom, baby, we're happy, we're healthy, we're thriving, we're living for a living. And what I will say is I do love that women can birth naturally. I do love that women have the ability to do so. I am not one of those women, okay? Like I said, I was mortified by getting a period whenever I was a teenager, and I had the hardest time with it for the longest time. And yeah, anytime I can't watch the shows that are all about like blood and guts, or even like Grey's Anatomy is too much for me. I can't get into it. No ma'am, no ham, no turkey. So also while I was being induced, I had them give me Ativan because I was like, I need to be calm for this because if I'm not calm, this isn't going to be good. So give me Ativan. They also gave me fentanyl, so now I'm a statistic. And some other crazy pain medication that literally, whenever they gave it to me, I don't remember a whole lot, but I do remember I kept telling Josh, like, why, like, is this a drug that people do for fun? Because if it is, why the fuck do people do this for fun? Because I feel horrible. Like, seriously, I felt so, like, dizzy and just, it was not a good time. Don't remember the name of the medication, of the drug, but 10 out of 10, don't recommend that one for leisure. I don't remember feeling anything with the fentanyl, but I think that's the point. I did get an epidural, and that fucking sucked. That was horrible. But it was over and done with so fast, and I don't even remember really how bad it was. You know, like I know that it was bad, but I don't remember like how bad. And I think that's the whole point, right? Like, and there is a reason why women are built to not remember the pain. I don't even remember, y'all. I was so fucking sick my first trimester. I seriously lived off of cereal and bananas. Like that was it. And I a few times thought to myself, like, this is not fucking worth it. Like the way I feel right now is not worth it. And then as soon as my second trimester hit, I was like, what? I don't even remember how bad the first trimester was. um, and yeah, like sick as far like I didn't yeah, just like stomach, nausea, dude. Like the level of nausea was wild. Like I still have lotions that I would wear during that time that I had to throw away because the smell, like smelling them again, like instantly make me feel like that sickness again. You know how we can kind of like associate smells and tastes with not so happy times? That was that specific lotion for me. Oh, also the epidural, like it made my bladder go to sleep. So I had to listen to this, y'all. Listen to this crazy shit. I had 7 different catheters put in me over the course of 6 days. And I had to go see a urologist because by the last one, they were like, you should probably go see a urologist. Your bladder still isn't waking up. And the urologist was like, I do not understand why they gave you so many catheters. And here's what would happen. Like during my postpartum in the hospital, a nurse would come in and like, hey, can you pee? Go try to pee. Couldn't pee. And I'm trying for like hours, right? Like, and I just couldn't pee. So they would put a catheter in. They would leave the catheter in for X amount of hours, take it out, let me try to pee again. And the urologist was like, what they should have done is just put the catheter in you, left it in there for a week, and then have you try to pee on your own after a week. It's like, yeah, well, could you tell like the rest of the staff at the hospital that? Because that's not the case that happened to me. And I know for next time, anytime I have to do like anesthesia like that, I know that that's how my body reacts. So I will be advocating for myself. Like, hey, just go ahead, put the catheter in me, and we'll just do what we got to do. And that, you know what's so funny though, talking this out loud with you all? That was the one thing I was the most scared of. Because whenever I found out that having an epidural, you have to have a catheter in, I was like, oh, fuck no. Like, there's no way. Like, can y'all just put a bedpan under me? Like, I don't want a catheter. Like, that's so terrifying. I'm so scared of that. And that ended up being the thing that, like, held with me after birth, too, right? Like, the thing that I was most scared of and really trying to be okay with was the thing that ended up, like, the universe forced me to be okay with it. Now I'm like, I'm a pro. I had to fucking self-cath myself at home because I had an issue. That fucking sucked. I thought I was gonna pass out. It was horrible. But now I'm like, you know what? I'm a pro. I can do this for a living. Like I could teach trainings on how to get, receive, and do catheters. But we're not gonna make this podcast about fucking catheters because that time has gone and passed in my life. But that was really like the only thing that happened to me after birth, which is wild because out of all of the women that I know and that I've heard birth stories from, that is never a thing that I have heard happen. And everyone was telling me, like at the hospital, the doctors and nurses, they're like, oh, this is so common. I'm like, y'all are lying because if this was so fucking common, I would know about it. Right? But that's not true because I'm not in the medical field. And I truly thought like I'm gonna have to have this fucking catheter in me forever because I had never heard of anybody who had to go through that, who went through that, or whatever. Um, Turns out it's just a thing. And after coming home, I learned that my sister-in-law's father had that happen to him during a knee surgery, and that Josh's grandfather had that happen to him during a hip surgery. So it is a thing that has happened to people that I do know. I just didn't know. I just didn't know, you know? You don't know till you know, you know. Take a drink every time I say, you know? Okay. The nurses and the doctors and everybody who was there during that entire process made me feel so supported and so special. And as someone who has kind of a negative-ish relationship with the medical industry. I was very humbled by my beliefs and very thankful for everyone who was part of my entire journey and process through those 4 or 5 days of us. I don't even remember how long we were there. We got there Wednesday night, early Thursday at midnight, Wednesday midnight, whatever the fuck time that is, and we left Sunday afternoon. Um, so however many days that is. And yeah, it was overall a really good experience. And whenever we got home, the amount of anxiety that I felt and overwhelm I felt the second we like pulled into the driveway, it was like even thinking about how I felt just makes me feel so sick to my stomach because I truly was like, what the fuck is going on? Like it feels so weird being out of a hospital setting and not having people to like help take care of your child and you. And I'm coming home with a fucking piss bag and I like was being, fed consistently in the hospital and I'm like, I don't even know like what I'm gonna eat while I'm home. And, I'm breastfeeding and I don't know if I'm getting enough milk because, for those of you that don't know, your milk doesn't really come in until like day 7 or 8 after having a baby. So you're just feeding them colostrum, which is a very small amount. And like that is stressful. And I totally understand why that can be a reason why women don't continue their breastfeeding journey because it is like, it's one of those things like you choose your hard. You're either going to keep doing what you're doing, what you've learned from like the lactation consultants and videos and stuff that you've seen and classes you've taken, whatever, to continue the breastfeeding journey, or you're like, this is too much for me, I have to go to formula. And multiple times Josh was like, are you sure this is worth it? Are you sure this is worth it? Because he could see how upset I was during the whole process of getting my son to latch onto me and questioning like, is he getting enough? Like I have no fucking idea. And Josh was more so like, I don't really care, I just want you to be good, I need you to be okay. And I just had to tell him, I'm like, this part's gonna be hard, but I'm gonna get through it and I'm choosing my hard. To me, this hard is what I'm choosing over the hard of giving up breastfeeding and deciding to formula feed my son, which that's everyone's own opinion. That's everyone's journey. I did not want that to be my journey. So I was willing to push through the toughness of the beginning stages of breastfeeding, right? It goes for a lot of things outside of just breastfeeding too. Like you choose your hard. You choose what are you going, yeah, which heart are you going to pick? And we can even take it down to, we are going to take it down to mindset manifestation. So oftentimes whenever people have issues with being on board with their mindset and their manifestation, it truly does come down to if they're going to stick with the hard, if they're going to stick with the uncomfortability, because when you are becoming the version of you who is the master manifester, who is living for a living, who is abundant and magnetic as fuck, it does take not only a lot of shedding of the old you and the old life that you had, because the version of you who is not living the life that you desire cannot go with you to the next version of you. Your highest self cannot make space for the old you. Energetically, physically, it just cannot happen. The things that are with you now that are not serving you and that might even be holding you back from becoming a master manifester they cannot go with you to this next chapter, this next season. You have to choose the hard, and it is uncomfortable. Every single one of my clients that I've ever worked with, when we're together, like I would say our first month or even like our first 6 weeks together, there's a lot of, Alyssa, what the fuck is going on? I don't know if I can take this. Like, there's so many things that are falling out of place. Like, I'm having all of these crazy things happen to me. And not like crazy, like you're unable to handle it crazy, but crazy is in like, oh my gosh, like me and my friend had a falling out, we're never gonna talk again, or like I'm moving out of my parents' house because they like finally I'm tired of this neglect that I've been feeling from them, or oh my gosh, I've had like 6 clients not want to renew with me, and I'm like, okay, well, all of those things, because all of those things are out of alignment for you. And when you're choosing to be in alignment, either the universe is going to say, okay, I can tell you're serious now because your actions are matching what that mouth is saying, and I'm going to help kind of push this process along. It's called growing pains for a reason. It's not called growing feel goods, right? Like it's going to be painful, it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to make you shake your fist at the universe and go, "What the actual fuck is going on?" But that's the point. That's the point. Again, the version of you now who is living in fight or flight, who is living in feast and famine, who is having a hard time really loving themselves and understanding what they're capable of, cannot go with you to the space where you are thriving and living in alignment and living for a living and being abundant and magnetic as fuck. Period. So you choose your hard. You choose which hard is going to go with you on this next journey. Because it is going to be hard, but it's worth it. You know, just like it's hard starting a new um, fitness routine. It's hard whenever you decide to create a business. It's hard when you decide to leave a relationship or move out of your home or start a new job. Like all of it's hard, but you pick the hard that's worth working towards. So, during my entire process, birth, after birth, now I'm postpartum 8-ish weeks. By the time you listen to this, it'll be much further along postpartum. But now that I'm here on the other side of everything, I just know now more to my core that the way that we've been doing things in society is so ass backwards. It's so ass backwards. And I'm going to continue to talk about this. I'm going to continue to talk about how society has been completely overtaken by the man-made laws and man-made rules. And when you can break free of that and get back to universal laws and universal rules and actually what lights your soul on fucking fire, that is where the magic happens. That is where the magic lies. That is what holds all of the answers, right? So all of these things that you're trying to do to find the answers for you in your life, they're all within you. But society tells you otherwise. Man-made laws and rules are telling you, no, you need this thing over here. No, you need this thing over here. No, you need to do this to have this. Bullshit. I'm telling you right now, you have all of the answers. You have a magic 8 ball literally living inside of you that is trying to come through in the form of, hey, I have an answer. Hey, listen to me. Hey, look at the answer that I just gave you. And when you can tune into that and truly hone in on you and your own internal voice, the rest is history. The rest is history. It's that mixed with the you got to stop giving a fuck if you look crazy to society. You have to stop giving a fuck if you look crazy to your friends and family who are stuck in the societal chains. Those aren't your people. Sorry, but they're not. If you have a desire to break free and to live free and to be magnetic and become a master manifester, the reason that there are people that you look up to who have all the things that it is you desire, they are not doing things the way that society's telling them to do things. Let's talk about my boy Elon. I know I've talked about him before. Gonna talk about him again. This man didn't even go to fucking school to understand rocket engineering, whatever the fuck that's called. There's a word for it, some type of engineering. He has no degree in that. He didn't learn that from other people, but he owns SpaceX. What the fuck? What the fuck? To be I even think an employee at NASA, you have to have some type of background in aerodynamics. That's the word, in aerodynamics. And there's another word though, space dynamics. That's probably not it, but you know what I'm saying? To even work at NASA. And this man said, fuck that. I have a desire to go to Mars. I'm gonna build my own shit. And he fucking did, y'all. And it's not because he's privileged or because he's chosen or because of anything other than the fact that he believed in his core that he wanted that and he was gonna get it, and the universe worked its magic to make that happen for him. Why aren't you doing the same? You think it made sense the guy who invented the internet? You've heard me say this before, or the woman, well, I don't think it was a woman, I think it was a man who invented the internet, but you think it made sense for the internet to be created? Hey, you guys, I have an idea to bring this thing to life where we can all stay connected through the interwebs and we can look up any question we have on the internet. You think that made fucking sense to people that had no concept of the internet? Everything that you see in this human physical realm first started in someone's mind and they believed to their core that they could bring it to life, that they did. That to me and to the whole manifestation metaphysical mindset world is how you make shit happen. The unshakable belief that you can bring it to light and bring it to fruition. I had the unshakable belief that my birth was going to be smooth and calm and peaceful, and it fucking was. I had the core belief that my son was going to be healthy and happy and thriving when he was born, and he fucking was. He was big, he was a big ass baby, but he was healthy and happy and thriving. Okay? It starts in the mind. If you are not prioritizing having a solid fucking mindset, it's not going to happen for you. And I don't care who has told you different. I'm being the real and honest truth here. It cannot happen for you if you do not have a solid fucking mindset around what it is you're trying to do in your life and for yourself. Okay? I've blabbed a lot. We had a couple hiccups in this episode, but we're still getting through it. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't already, snag the freebie in my show notes to get on my email list where I drop love notes every week, where I'm sharing to you my real, raw thoughts and opinions and downloads that come to me through my highest self and through Daddy Universe from my being channeled into the emails that I'm sending out to you. Make sure you hop in the membership to be a part of that masterclass I'm hosting on how to live in abundance outside of the internet. And I'll see you next time. Bye! I'm so grateful that you tuned in today. If this episode activated something in you, share it with a bestie who's also ready to become limitless. And don't forget to leave a review to help more people find this space. Wanting more? Get on my email list and subscribe to my YouTube channel for exclusive downloads, mindset shifts, and behind-the-scenes magic that I only share there. The link is in the show notes. Until next time, keep trusting the pull, honoring your energy, and manifesting your most abundant life.